Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to GG APAC Weekend Stay Connected 4.0. This is actually a collaborative effort of Google educator groups around the Asia Pacific region. Habang meron po tayong mga webinars hosted dito, yes, dito sa Pilipinas, kasabay natin ng iba pang mga guro sa Asia Pacific na nakikinig din sa mga webinars sa kani-kanilang mga bansa. Meron pong webinar sa Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Hong Kong, India, Japan, at South Korea. At if you would see, naka-flash po ngayon sa screen yung website kung saan makikita niyo po lahat ng webinars na nangyayari ngayon. Ayan. So how is everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day despite of a very gloomy weather outside for some, and others it's already like the heat is on. I hope everybody's okay. I just want to see your comments maybe and telling us that you are doing fine and great. And I'm very so happy na marami na agad ang nakatutok dito sa atin. I know it's early morning, but everybody's really like very much into our webinar and willing to learn. Ayan. So magandang araw po ulit sa ating lahat, and it's just a very good morning to see everyone up and ready to learn. All right. So again, a little later, you're going to be hearing another talk, and it's going to be very informative one, and I'm sure that ma-apply po natin ito sa ating teaching or even in our life. I'm very sure of that. So I hope that everybody would be listening, and if you would have any questions later, we're going to be entertaining them. So if you are all ready, okay, I would like to hear from you on the comment section. A little shout out maybe for everyone. Yes, good morning. Oh, hi there, Miss Mary and Sir Junray Lidres. Good morning po sa inyo. I'm happy that you're already on the book and we're on the show. So if you are all ready, perhaps I would like to introduce our speaker for this morning. All right, so let me invite our speaker, all right, on stage. So I would introduce our speaker for today. All right. Okay. Hi there, Sir MJ. So allow me first to read his bio note for you, to introduce him to you so that we would be able to get to know him better. Okay. So for today, we are really very lucky to have one of our speakers who would explain how to utilize Google Meet and the importance of developing a safe place in virtual classrooms and how Google Meet can help in this. He would also show us the difference between the old and the new Google Meet and the difference between free accounts and paid accounts. Friends, our speaker for today, as maybe you can see him already on stage, is a young licensed professional and a special science teacher one in Angelo Livardo Loyola Senior High School in DepEd, Cavite. He was invited as a resource speaker to talk about teaching pedagogies under the new normal education. His first educational talk happened at his own school during the School-Based Learning Action Cell, where he shared his expertise in using virtual classroom platform. He was also invited to talk in a national webinar under Kaagapay Teacher Support to share his knowledge on the use of Google education tools for teaching in online classes. He was also selected as a master trainer for 100 undeserved students to train them in basic data analytics, sponsored by Limitless Lab and ASEAN Foundation. He was also invited as a resource speaker for the National ICT Month, spearheaded by DICT LC3 Palawan, to train educators all around the country on how to use digital, collaborative, and interactive tools. He received several awards in 2021, He is a recipient of Luminary Excellence in Education and Research Awards, Outstanding Educator in Science and Community Engagement, an outstanding teacher in classroom management during the pandemic period by Magister Service, a recipient of the 2021 InstaBright International Awards for Educators, Outstanding Educator of the Year by InstaBright, a global leader and educator awardee for STEM and innovation category in Athens, a national finalist of the seven outstanding ones of the Philippines, an awardee of the 2021 Unified Outstanding Leadership by the Unified International Awards. He is an innovative teacher who won several awards in innovation. He is also part of the innovation project by De La Salle University, Manila, home-based biology experiments. He acquired 15 innovative teaching badges and certifications from different organizations. He founded Hiraya Philippines, a small youth led non civic organization which aimed to materialize the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. He launched his first project, Project Talino, teaching and learning innovations and opportunities, which empowered educators and learners in facing the challenges brought by the pandemic. As an educational technology advocate, he received the following certifications and badges: Google Certification Educator Level 1, Microsoft Innovative Educator Trainer, Adobe Creative Educator Level 1, Advanced Nearpod Certified Educator, Nearpod Distance Learning Expert, Certified Apple Teacher, Kami Certified Educator Level 1 and 2, Ed Puzzle Coach, Flipgrid Certified Educator Level 1, Common Sense Educator. All right. A round of applause, virtual applause. Let's all welcome Sir Marge Joseph Sardo.
Ayan. So thank you very much po Miss Pau for introducing me 'no. Medyo mahaba pala yung bio note tapos maiksi lang yung presentation natin.
No,
Ayan.
you deserve to be introduced
Ayan.
that way, Sir MJ. How are you
Thank you
for
very
today?
much po. Ayan, medyo, okey naman po, sana po hindi umulan kasi medyo mahirap ang connection 'pag umulan. So, first and foremost, thank you very much po for inviting me today 'no, and sa lahat ng participants, I welcome you to our GEGA PAC 4.0. So, I hope that you will learn something from me po. And thank you very much po, Miss Pao.
I am very much honored to introduce such person. Grabe, how I wish I could be in that level too soon. Sipag at syaga, no? So anyway, Sir MJ, I will give the floor to you. Take it away.
Thank you very much po. So, good morning po sa lahat ng participants natin today. So, I'll be focusing on the communication gaps which will be bridged by Google Meet. So, yan. So, if you want to review the sessions na po from the previous activities namin about Google Meet, so you can visit nga the APAC GEG website po. So, flashed kanina. So, yan. I am Marge Joseph Sardo, no po, LPT and SST1 of Angelo Levardo Loyola Senior High School, Dapat Cavite. Ayan. So, today, no, nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag natin na communication shift, no. So, from a traditional point of view to an online point of view, or we are teaching our students, no, before face-to-face. Ngayon, we are using the online communication tools to continue our education. So, yan. So, ang transition natin is very fast, no? Hindi tayo masyadong prepared dun sa nangyaring transition, which is why nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag natin na communication gaps. So, today, we will be focusing on 5 small topics. So, the first one is Google Meet Essentials, no? So, i-review ko pa din po ang kaunting differences, kagaya ng nabanggit kanina, differences between the basic accounts and the adapted accounts, no? And although na-discuss na rin kahapon or nung Friday ni Sir Jeff yung about sa paid accounts and free accounts, no? Yung mga Google Education differences, no? So I will still review some of it and summarize some of it. So another thing is yan nga, what are communication gaps? I will also be discussing it briefly, and how Google Meet bridge those gaps, no? So, paano in-address ni Google Meet yung mga communication gaps na nangyari sa transition natin from face-to-face to online classes. So, and then the fourth session or the fourth part is will focus on the importance of building safe space. So yan, ang safe space natin is hinighlight ko siya because this will be very useful to everyone, no? Kasi we are using communication tools. So, if we are not going to make our classroom or class session a safe space, sorry. So, hindi magkakaroon ng magandang communication. And then finally, I will share some considerations in building a safe space in Google Meet. So, of course, these are just based on my experiences. No? So, if you have any thoughts or if you have any suggestions or anything that you can share, you can please type your comments on our available social media accounts, no, such as YouTube and Facebook. So thank you very much. So for our first part or the first part of my talk is about Google Meet Essentials. So yan, so na-review na ito and I expect that most of you the na, know how to navigate Google Meet Essentials, no. So before that, I will show you yung pinaka basics ng ating ano. So I'll just show you dito sa part na ito. Yan. So this one, ayan, this is my free account, no. Ang gamit ko dito is an email or a Gmail account which ends in at gmail.com. So and kung mapapansin natin, we have several buttons. So na-discuss na rin naman sa atin ito. And meron ako ditong feature, no? So attendance feature. So this is just an add-on. So huwag kayong magtataka if wala kayo nito. You can install that in our Google extensions, no? So add-ons lang siya for attendance. So ayan, so meron tayo ditong basic buttons, no? We can use this to utilize our classes or to create sessions, no? So mapapansin natin dito, activities are just only whiteboarding. So si whiteboarding lang po ang available na activity. Ayan. And you have their comments, so where students can ask questions or share their ideas, no? So and then the meeting details. Ayan. So if we're going to compare yung ating basic pictures na account sa ating DepEd account. So ito po yung itsura ng DepEd accounts. Ayan. So this is our DepEd accounts. So kung mapapansin nyo, nagkaroon po ba ng karagdagang button? So yes po. Sa DepEd accounts po natin or sa fundamentals account natin, meron tayong nadagdag na buttons. So isa na dito yung tinatawag natin na host controls. Ayan. So as you can see, makikita natin agad that this meeting is a safe meeting, no? So, yun nga, kasi nga, inire-reiterate natin that our session must be a safe space. So, dito pa lang nakikita na natin that sessions in Google Meet are safe. So, we can control several functions na meron dito sa ating host control. So, nandyan yung quick access, kung saan ililimit ba natin yung pagpasok ng mga participants or ng mga students outside the domain, no? So kung hindi naman siya registered domain or hindi parehas yung domains ng bawat emails na meron tayo, pwede natin siyang kontrolin, no? So pwede tayong mag-limit ng participants na pwedeng pumasok sa Google Meet. So yan. Aside from here, we have here a feature on how to share their screen. So we can control if ayaw natin or hindi may mga times na tayo lang yung pwede mag-share ng ating screen. Kasi di ba merong mga instances that our students accidentally click the button share. So pag nakiklik na lang yung button na share, nagkakaroon ng disruption sa classes kasi yung pinapresent mo napapalitan ng mga screens ng bata, ganyan. So nakapaloob sa host controls yung permission if we are going to allow our students to share their screens. So yan. Sa basic natin na accounts, wala po tayong host control, sadly. Pero we can utilize it naman in our classes. So ang kagandahan lang ni DepEd account is we have our our control. So aside from here, pwede tayong mag-limit ng messages doon sa ating Google Meet. So if kasi 'di ba usually kapag nagkakaroon ng classes, so halimbawa nire-record natin yung sessions, no, and students are commenting on the chat box or on the message box dito sa Google Meet, kasama siya doon sa nare-record ng screen, no. So minsan naaapektuhan yung presentations, ganyan. So yan, ang powerful feature natin is marami tayong host controls na addition for the DepEd accounts. And Good thing is meron din tayo ditong raise hand na button. So, yun yung nadagdag sa atin. And of course, sa activity na button natin ay meron tayong recording, no? So, sa basic accounts natin, we are not allowed to record our sessions doon sa, yun nga, sa basics. Unless gagamit ka ng third-party application. So, dito naman sa Google Meet, meron na siyang kasama na recording button. So, that is what um, that those are the differences or the advantages of having a DepEd account. So ang question dyan, sir, paano po pag wala naman kaming DepEd accounts, no? So alam ko po meron mga or meron kasing mga students or meron mga teachers na merong mga accounts from different institutions, no? So meron diyan mga PNU, DLSU, UP, meron silang same na meron silang same advantage no sa paggamit ng Google Meet kapag meron sila nun. Parehas lang sila halos ng sa DepEd accounts. So paano po pag wala naman kaming ganong account? Alam ko po if wala you can ask the ICT no. So they offer free DICT accounts no. So alam ko same siya ng function ng DepEd. So it's also an organizational email. So if interested kayo you can message them and ask them about this. Ayan. So, yun lang naman yung some of the parts that I noticed na hindi masyadong, sabihin natin hindi masyadong na-discuss dun sa iba't ibang sessions, no? So, I mean na-reiterate or na-highlight. So, I will show to you naman. Ayan. Ayan. Some of the parts of the Google Meet na pwede nating i-recall. For recall purposes lang po ito. Ayan. So nabanggit ko kanina yung activities, no? So meron tayo sa basic account ng Google, meron tayong tinatawag na activities. So yung makikita ng button na geometrical shapes, yung may triangle, may circle, may square. Ayan. So sa ating DepEd account kasi, we only have those functions, no? Meron lang siyang laman na screen recorder or video recorder and of course yung ating whiteboard. So yan. So if you are interested to buy or to pay for a better version of Google Meet, so ito yung marireceive nyo na mga additional features, no? So yan. So ito yung ating button na sinabi ko kanina, activities button. So luckily nagkaroon tayo ng activities button kasi last year wala pa ito masyado eh. So yan. So ang merong additional features for engagement is yan, nagkakaroon siya ng breakout rooms, no? So, breakout rooms, also, meron din siyang polls. Yan, meron din tayong Q&A. Yan. Also, we can actually track our attendance. So, kung napansin nyo kanina, may button na ako doon ng attendance kasi yan, as a teacher, it's really hard for everyone, di ba, to check our attendance. So, i-discuss ko mamaya ng saglit lang kung ano ba yung function ng attendance doon sa Google Meet or kung ano yung ways kung paano nyo siya ma-utilize, no? So since free lang yung account natin or DepEd lang yung account natin, so lahat ng features na ito, yung 4, 5, 6, and 7, wala pa sila dito sa ating Google Meet, no? So if you are interested to pay or to buy additional features, ando naman siya. So madali lang siya and this is really useful, no? Especially nagkaroon tayo sa DepEd ng Form 2. Ayan. So, ang nakakaiyak na Form 2. So, yan. This will be helpful po sa ating lahat. So, yan. So, we have poll. This is really simple to use. So, ipapakita ko lang yung itsura ng poll sa Google Meet. So, dahil wala tayong kakayahang pumili or mag-upgrade, ito lang. Ipapakita ko lang siya. So, pwede tayong mag-ask dito ng survey. So, pwede natin gamitin ang polls, of course, to connect with students. Diba? Yun yung number 1. So, wala pa tayo dun sa part ng communication gap. I'll just reiterate or review or reveal yung mga upgrades na meron sa DepEd or I mean sa Google Meet. Ayan. So first things first, pwede natin siyang gamitin to connect with students, 'di ba? Usually meron tayo sa umpisa ng classes, no. Kamusta ka na? So ano yung feelings na meron ka today? How will you describe your day? Yan, pwede natin gamitin yung poll doon. And it's a way for us to connect with students, no. So that
All
is the
right.
first thing.
All right, Sir MJ. Ayan, sorry to butt in, and I just cannot contain how much I've been getting a lot from your talk. First, ano pa lang po yan, parang kumbaga one-fourth pa lang ng talk ni Sir MJ. Sir MJ, a little later, of course, we would request that you're gonna be sharing your screen with us po, no? Yon. So, makikita natin a lot from his screen a little later. So, makikita po talaga natin yung content ng talk ni Sir MJ. Do not screenshot po. Siguro mas maganda po muna that we'll listen and read po some of the things that is presented in his PowerPoint presentation. And if you have any questions, a little later, of course, you can type them in the comment or chat section, and we're going to be entertaining them later after Sir MJ's talk. So you may share your comments and questions again on our chat box, and Sir MJ would be, of course, moving on with his talk. So, Sir MJ, I'll be here anytime. Let's go.
Thank you very much po. Ayan. So, yan, going back, ayan. So, for those who missed this one, so again, we have another additional features if you want upgrades sa ating Google Meet, no? So, meron siyang, ito, yung apat na additional features. The first one is we will have the ability to track our students' attendance automatically, no? And aside from that, magkakaroon din tayo ng breakout rooms and of course Q&A and lastly yung poll. So yun nga. So the first thing natin na pwede kong i-introduce is yung poll. So ganito yung itsura niya. So we can ask questions or little surveys na pwede nating siguro gawing basis para para i-consider yung environment na meron tayo at this point. So ganyan. So usually ginagamit tong polls, 'di ba? Sa pagkakamusta or sa connection or pagbi-build ng connection sa mga student. So dito kasi iba yung way niya ng paggamit ng polls pero this is really good. So aside from that, ayan. So makikita natin yung resulta ng poll. Pwede natin siyang isara, pwede natin siyang buksan ulit, or pwede rin natin siyang i-delete. Ayan. So aside from that, ayan, Q&A din is available now. So hindi lang siya automatically, 'di ba, ang ating Google Meet is ang offer sa atin is chat. So we can chat or we can mention we can share our ideas using the chat feature. So at this point, kapag meron tayong upgrades, no, so hopefully magkaroon din ng siguro trial for those educators, no, para dito sa mga activities na to. So yan, meron din tayong Q&A. So this is really specifically for Q&A purposes only, no. So hindi lang si teacher ang may kakayahang mag-ask ng question. So students will also have the same feature wherein ang mga students, no. So pag nakita natin, halimbawa nag-post ka ng questions, no. Ang question ng galing sa students, so you can both no by liking it. So pag nilike mo siya ng nilike, halimbawa same din yung question ko, ganyan din yung question ng ibang students, ililike natin yung question, it will appear on top of the message button. So makikita agad ni teacher or makikita agad ng presenter yung common question na nabubuo sa bawat participant. So that is how Q&A in Google Meet will work, no? Ayan, so si teacher naman may control siya on how to answer this question. So if the question is answered by the presenter itself, himself or herself, pwede niyang i-check yung button dito which will filter this Q&A, no. So pag click niya, um magiging answered na yung Q&A or yung questions na pinost. So yan. So mawawala na siya doon sa message. So magiging hidden na siya. Yan. So meaning to say, walang malalagpasan na tanong si teacher. So yan, unless hindi niya ma-check yung Q&A feature na button. So pwede rin siyang i-filter from all this newest and popular. So hindi natin siya ma-experience pa, no, kasi wala naman siguro yung iba nakabili ng accounts, no. So aside from that, we have additional breakout rooms, no. So this is a really good feature kasi in Google Meet talaga medyo mahirap magkaroon ng groupings. So mas maganda talaga na mayroong breakout rooms. Although I visited Google extensions, no, about the breakout rooms, pero hindi siya nag-work sa aking laptop. So if any one of you kung gusto niyang i-try, there are several extensions for Google Meet. So pwede niyo siyang gamitin. So yun nga, naka-download niya ako ng attendance. So yan, ayan. And finally, we have ayan, attendance tracking. Ayan, so meron din tayong noise cancellation feature. So sir, ano po ba yung dinidiscuss nyo? Again, to reiterate, these are the features na meron po ang Google Meet na upgraded from DepEd account. Ayan. So, meron din tayo, of course, edition comparison. So, hindi ko na siya masyadong i-share kasi naipakita na rin siya sa presentation ni Sir Jeff last time and nasagot na yung question. So, yun. Ang kinompare ko lang dito is yung difference between free accounts and, of course, the institutional or fundamental accounts. So, I'll be going back to my presentation natin. So, those are some of the parts, no? Those are some of the parts of my Google Essential session. So, check ko lang yung additional. Ayan. So, yan. So, ito yung summary. Meron lang tayo nadagdag na mga host controls, raise hand feature, record session buttons, and end button for all. So, ano po yung end button? So, di ba usually kapag Google Meet yung gamit natin, halimbawa si teacher o tapos na yung klase, pag clinic kasi natin yung end button before, no, sa ating mga basic accounts, before din, um, yung students mag stay dun sa platform, no. Hindi sila makakapag-leave unless i-click din nila yung end button. So with para ang kagandahan ni Google, we can end the session na lahat tayo kasamang mawawala dun sa session if in-end natin yung button na yun. Or clinic natin yung end button. So yun yung additional feature na maganda, 'di ba? Kasi at least doon kasi ang sa face-to-face class, ang equivalent na scenario niya is kapag umalis si teacher and yung students ay nasa loob pa ng classroom tapos biglang umalis si teacher, 'di ba? Unsupervised. So magiging unsupervised yung class. So kaya ang kagandahan nun, di-dismiss natin lahat, sabay-sabay tayo magde-dismiss. So that is the function of the end button na panglahatan. And so para maiwasan natin yung mga unsupervised sessions sa Google Meet, no. So kapag naiwan kasi tayo, minsan yung mga students, no, baka magkaroon pa ng away, ganyan, hindi natin makokontrol. So mas maganda ma-end natin yung session. Ayan. So, and we will move on to the communication gaps na meron na tayo sa ating education today. So this is very simple and ginawa ko na siya na very direct. So yan. So first things first, we need to know what communication is. So communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals or groups through a common systems of symbols, signs, and behavior. So kung mapapansin nyo po, hinighlight ko po yung ibang words just to sum up or to show to you what communication is all about. So it's all about an exchange of information. So of course, with a common system. So involved dapat dito ay 2 or more persons sa communication, ano? Yan. So moving on is ano naman yung communication gap? So sa communication, if we have flaws, if we fail to deliver the message, that will become a communication gap. So specifically, it occurs when the meaning intended by the speaker or sender is not what is understood by the recipient due to several barriers. Ayan. So later, we will discover that communication gaps is more about the communication barriers, no? So, I selected a few based dun lang sa mga experiences na meron ako at meron kami mga teachers sa aming school. So, yan. So, pero napakadami pong gap, hindi lang sa communication, meron tayong na-experience dahil sa mabilis na transition natin from a face-to-face to an online learning system. Ayan. So, i-discover natin today what are some of the communication gaps and I hope if you have any, you can type or share to us kung ano yung mga gaps or kung ano yung mga problems na na-met natin during this pandemic, no, in relation to communication gaps. So, yan. So, the first thing, ayan. So, before, during the face-to-face classes namin, we have mainstream, no? So kung familiar kayo sa mainstreaming, we mainstream at least parang 10 yata na person with disabilities, no? So meron kaming iba't ibang type of disabilities, but in face-to-face, we are able to cater naman, no? Nakikater naman natin yung mga pangangailangan ng mga persons, no, with those special needs. So dito sa ating online classes, paano ba siya natutugunan ni Google Meet? So yan nga, ang ating gap, the first gap that we have is digital constraints for persons with disabilities. So dahil ang main goal ng Google Meet is inclusivity, ayan, so lahat ng person regardless of their sex, gender, race, disabilities are all welcome to use Google Meet as a platform. So yan, isa sa magandang feature is the live captions which are available for people with hearing problems. So those people na may problema sa pandinig, they can review the session or they can follow the session by reading those live captions. No? So be careful lang doon sa live captions. No? We have 5 languages and wala tayong Filipino language if I'm not mistaken. Pero meron tayong English. So we tried to use English captions. So kahit gaano medyo yun lang, ang downside nito kailangan malinaw yung pagkakasabi natin ng bawat words. So para maganda yung transition ng ating live captions, no. So aside from that, if yun nga, hindi ko kasi main topic yung add-ons, pero may add-ons tayo kung saan pwede nating i-save yung mga captions na nabubuo dun sa ating session, no. So kung may time kayo, pwede niyo siyang i-explore. So yan, we also have screen readers and magnifiers which are available for those low vision users. Ayan, so pwede na tayong mag-enlarge ng screen, 'di ba? So hindi lang naman kasi low vision users yung mga may problems talaga or persons with disabilities na may visual impairment, no? Pwede rin dito yung kagaya ko medyo malabo yung mata, so we can use magnifiers or screen readers. So yan, for us to siguro maka-follow talaga doon sa ating Google Meet, no? So alam ko that many of us are afraid to use the different digital tools, but all your feelings are valid, no? And normal, lalong-lalo na ngayong pandemic. So yan. So if may tanong dyan about dyan, paano po pag kinakabahan kami gumamit ng ganito, ganyan, ayan, we can use the opportunity to ask different people, no? Especially yung mga Google Educator groups, they are willing to help and they are willing to teach us the basics and of course, yung mga proper steps on how to use and how these tools will help us in our classes. So, yan. So, nabanggit kasi siya kahapon. So, medyo na-recall ko lang. Aside from those digital constraints, meron din tayong physical barriers. Ito yung madalas na nararanasan ng mostly mga teachers ngayon, no? So yan yung kasama na dyan yung external noises, yan. Yung mga noises galing sa mga microphones ng iba't ibang students na nakakalimutang mag-mute, ganyan. So one tip is, of course, to remind them the basic netiquettes na dapat nilang i-apply or i-practice during online classes. So there are instances kasi that we cannot control situations, no. Meron talagang mga students na minsan nakakalimutan nilang mag-mute or meron ding presenters na gano'n, no, may ibang nagsasalita, nakalimutan din nilang mag-mute. So yan, so we have a mute all function which are available to control any devices, many students devices, no. Iko-control lang po niya ay yung audio ha, hindi po yung iba't iba pang mga parts or iba't iba pang mga controls. So yan. And of course, di rin natin maiiwasan yung mga external noises or unnecessary noise na meron sa ating paligid. Yan, so mga pagtilaok ng manok, ganyan. So yung static from our microphones. So Google Meet answered this or help communication to be better by adding a noise cancelling function. So which are there to sort out unnecessary noise, no. So sir, ang tanong po namin, ba't po wala kami nitong noise cancelling function? So sadly, ang noise cancelling function is available pa lang for upgrades, no. Ayan. So if you are interested yan, this will be very helpful. So if wala naman, we can use naman different technology, no, different devices na external devices to filter out unnecessary noise. Ayan. So we have the next one, misinterpretation due to lack of nonverbal cues, body language, and facial expressions. Ayan, so the basics of communication is, di ba, dapat iniintindi natin or nakikita natin yung many factors ng kausap natin. So it can be facial expressions, body language, nonverbal cues, no? So, sa ating mga online sessions kasi, merong mga students na, yun nga, we are not sure if they are really, if their statements matches their moods, ganyan. So, to be able to address those communication gaps, kasi baka mamaya in-expect natin na okay sa kanila yung ginagawa natin or okay sa atin yung ginagawa nila. Um, Yun nga, nagkakaroon kasi tayo ng lack of body language, no? Hindi natin nababasa yung body language, yung non-verbal cues, and facial expressions. So, naglagay dito ng buttons, yun nga, common na naman siya, yung video and camera button, which allow us to see yung ating participants, no? Especially their cues, yung iba, siguro yung iba sa atin, makikita natin that some students are not listening, yeah? We can prompt them, no? So this video and camera button function or feature is really helpful to solve the gap between the lack of nonverbal communication or the lack to identify our students' body language and facial expressions. So yan. And at some point in time, may mga students talaga na sabihin natin hindi rin sila or nahihiya silang magtanong or nahihiya silang mag-approach, no? Or hindi nila alam yung proper way on how to clarify something, to ask something, or to prompt their teachers, no? So, with that, nagkaroon ng isang button na napaka-helpful talaga. At least dito makikita natin kung sino yung may query, may tanong, may interest, no? So, dinagdag ang ating raised hand function or raised hand button. So, available siya for those who wants to share their ideas and ask questions. So, aside from that, diba, this is better kasi may mga instances that our students, no, sa Google Meet minsan para lang marinig sila ng presenters or ng kanilang teachers, nagsasalita na lang sila bigla. So, yun. So, medyo disruptive siya ng classes. So, this raise hand function will allow us to be noticed, no, to be noticeable, and at the same time be respectful sa magiging sessions ng ating class. So yan, so magandang feature ang raise hand function. At least dito makita natin na a student have a query, a student have something to say, no, a student has something to clarify. Yan. So that is the powerful feature of the raise hand function. Ayan, so tatlo na yung communication gaps, but I remind you that there are several communication gaps na kailangan talaga nating i-address. And luckily, I chose these communication gaps na talagang kayang sagutin at kayang i-bridge, di ba, ni Google Meet. So moving on, we have physical barriers such as low reception due to geographical factors or locations affecting communication quality. Now, there are places kung saan nawawalan ng signal bigla or bumababa yung reception ng internet. So ang feature na binigay ni Google is that Google Meet have the ability to adjust video and audio quality automatically based on our connection strength, no? So yan. So ang magandang feature dito, hindi tayo mawawala doon sa Google Meet, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng problems, no? Nag-a-adjust na siya automatically. So based doon sa reception or sa connection strength na meron ng ating internet. And of course, meron tayong, yan nga, in connection with geographical factors, may mga students, di ba nga, na nawawala ng internet, they don't have the ability to go or to, say, attend online classes kasi nga mababa yung reception. So, yung iba, hindi nakakasabay sa classes. So, yun, nagkakaroon ng miscommunication, nagkakaroon ng failure to deliver messages and interpret information, which is why this is a really helpful function, no? Nagkaroon ng record button, no? Si Google Meet na ngayon ang magbibigay ng resources and of course ng iba't ibang type ng media. So, recorded, no? Recorded siya and we have the ability to give it to our students, no? So, asynchronous yung way ng i-interpret ng message, but it's really good, no? At least the students will have the same experience kasama yung mga students and teachers na gumawa or nasa loob ng isang online session, no? So makikita nila yung mga yung takbo ng lesson, makikita nila yung mga queries na meron yung mga students na nasagot sa online sessions. So, nandun siya ngayon sa magiging file kapag clinic natin yung button, yung record button. So, yan. So, di ba, Google Meet is really helpful in many ways, no? So, aside from giving us the opportunity to share our ideas, aside from ensuring that we are all safe, no, meron pa siyang additional feature na magbibigay sa mga students which don't have the ability to join online classes, no. So yun nga. So ang ginagawa namin sa school, record the session and then ask permission sa mga students if it's okay for them na i-send yung kanilang video sessions. Kasi 'di ba usually yung mga sessions minsan may mga kasamang names, and as a teacher and as a responsible digital citizen, we need to know yung rights na meron ng bawat isa, no. We need to know the risk of giving many data sa iba't ibang tao. So if they allow it naman, or we can use many ways to remove such information na pwedeng magamit for different types of um, risk ng cybersecurity. So yan. So yun yung i-consider natin, ha. Pero at in my class naman, they are all willing to help those students na nami-miss out yung classes. So okay lang sa kanila. Ayan. And next one is attention and engagement level decrease due to ineffective communication. So again, I remind every participants, if you have the same experiences that I have or meron kayong iba't iba pang experiences, you can type it in our comment boxes. So pwedeng sa YouTube and pwedeng sa Facebook. So we have here yun nga, ang problem natin is engagement, no. So kapag ang bata is or ang students natin has low motivation to join or to participate our classes, yan, nagkakaroon talaga ng ineffective communication or nagkakaroon talaga ng communication gap due to its ineffectivity. So ano yung sagot ni Google Meet? Binigay si activities feature. So yung pinakita ko kanina, yung button with with shapes, no, yung triangle, circle, and square. So yan, nakalagay doon yung different sets of activities, no. So nandoon si Paul, nandoon si Q&A, nandoon si breakout sessions, no. So which will help students to collaborate, no, to share their ideas, no, to for us to use it as a basis to create the tone of our classes, no. So that this is are really important. So ayan, kasama siya sa feature ni Google Meet. So engagement activities and engagement tasks are there for your students. Yun nga, sadly andito siya sa ating upgrades, no. Nandun din siya sa upgrades. But yun nga, kagaya ng sinabi ko, we have several Google extensions that we can use, no, as a substitute muna if we don't have the ability to upgrade our application such as Google Meet. So yan, and lastly, we have accessibility issues which can be met due to a lack of ability to acquire resources. Ayan. So yung hindi lahat kasi sa atin may laptop, hindi lahat kasi sa atin may tablet, 'di ba? Yung iba sa atin yung cellphone, mababa lang yung ability to join online classes, no. So luckily Google Meet works well with any devices and browsers. So yan, yun yung function or yung feature ni Google Meet na talagang maganda kasi in any device pwede siya or applicable siya. So it will not become a device, the nature of your device will not become a hindrance, no, to join online classes, especially in using Google Meet. So here are some of the communication gaps na na-address naman ni Google Meet, and of course these are all selected by me kasi based on experiences ito. So yun nga, like what I said, if you have any questions, clarifications, same experiences or additional experiences, you can share it with us, no, and we'll see if Google Meet has this specific feature which will bridge those communication gaps. So yan, at this point, I can say that Google Meet addressed all the communication gaps that we had. And so I just want right now I just want to reiterate, no, I just want to show to us, no, the importance of building a safe space. So ito po yung pinakamalaking factor kung saan tayo ay na dapat nating i-consider para magkaroon tayo ng magandang communication or delivery of message and interpretation, of course. Kasi 'di ba, sa umpisa pa lang naman we are using sabi natin Google Meet, no, as a tool for communication, as a tool to bridge the gaps of communication, but it will not be effective if in the first place hindi safe yung space na gagalawan ng mga students, no. So yan, this is really important to practice. So why is it important? Unahin natin, ano ba talaga yung safe space? So it describes as a secured classroom, providing protection not limited to physical, but most importantly, psychological and emotional harm. So yan, so it must be a classroom na kailangan natin protektahan ng ating mga estudyante. So hindi lang physical, kundi yung kanilang emotional and psychological. So it's a place where students will work um, safely, will work happily, will work freely, no? Kasi hindi lang siya comfortable eh. Magkaiba kasi yung comfort at saka yung comfortability yung yan nga, um yung pagiging komportable sa pagiging safe. Magkaiba siya, magkaiba yung dalawa. So it doesn't mean na kapag comfortable ka sa isang lugar, meaning safe ka na. Yun. So we must reiterate that we need to always build a safe space in our classes. So ang importance niya is of course so that everyone will feel secure enough to take risks, honestly express their views and share and explore their knowledge, attitudes and behaviors. So yan. So if we fail to build a safe space, hindi mangyayari ang communication in the first place. So yan, we can use our Google Meet to practice this different safe space na pwede nating, yun nga, pwede nating i-practice. So we have different considerations in building a safe space in Google Meet. So I included only 6, but this is not really, ito lang, hindi lang siya yan. Marami pong ways on how we can practice safe space. So first one is of course establishing ground rules at the beginning of the course. Ayan. So this is really common sa ating mga teachers, especially working in public and yun nga, public schools. So 'di ba meron tayong proposals pa ng ating classroom management and classroom policies, 'di ba? So yan, ito yung talaga yung first step on how we will be able to show the students that they are safe. So paano natin mai-reiterate yung safe space? Pag gagawa po tayo ng ground rules, no, kailangan po ay involve ang mga bata, no? So kapag ganyan, halimbawa, gamit tayo ng Google Meet, we meet our students, we present our ground rules to them. So they will siguro i-mention nila or i-share nila yung kanilang reactions, yung kanilang comments, and of course they have the right to mention din or to share din yung mga ground rules na sa tingin nila ay applicable or possible or hindi hindi siya nakakababa or nakaka-depreciate ng value ng isang student. So yan. So yun yung first thing na dapat nating matandaan. We need to involve the students in making ground rules. So use Google Meet, i-present sa bata and then make decisions together. So, di ba? Inclusivity is part of safe space. So, pag in-include natin yung opinion ng mga students, they will realize that they are part of the organization or part of the class itself. So, next is to establish connection with the student. So, if you have additional safe space practices, you can include it later. We will read it, no? So that many people will also know kung ano yung mga best practices na meron tayo. So, yun nga, establish connection with students. So, simple activities, no, ano yan? Yun nga, sabi ko kanina, kamustahin nyo sila. Tell them to describe how they feel. Yan. Of course, especially kasama na dito yung kilalanin natin yung mga bata, no? Alamin natin yung pangalan ng mga students. I understand that we have many students, especially ngayong pandemic, but to be honest, lahat ng students mo na mababanggit mo at matatandaan mo using their names, no? Yun nga, usually nga, ang names na mas maganda pang banggitin ay first names. Or itatanong natin sa mga bata kung ano yung gusto nilang itawag natin sa kanila. So may student kasi ako diyan na ang name niya is Mark Andre, no. Ang tawag ko sa kanya ay Mark. Pero nung pinagawa ko siya ng isang video introducing himself, ayaw pala niyang tawaging Mark, gusto pala niyang tawaging Dre. Ayan. So with that, I learned that mas natutuwa yung mga bata kapag nalalaman natin yung mga palayaw or yung mga nicknames na mas gusto nilang itawag natin sa kanila. So that is one way on how we can establish our connection with our students. Aside from that is yun nga, kumustahin natin sila. And aside from that, pwede nating itanong yung mga pronunciation ng pangalan ng mga bata, no? So medyo off daw kasi or medyo hindi na feel ng bata na safe sila kapag binabanggit natin yung kanilang pangalan na mali yung pronunciation. So feeling ng ibang mga students that yun nga, they are ridiculed, no? Na ginagasto natin sila, they can be an object of object of laughter, ganyan. So ask them to say, or it's not wrong to ask them how they pronounce their names. So yan. So those are some of the practices that I experienced. Next is praise publicly, sanction privately. So never ever sanction students sa harap ng maraming students, no. It will affect them greatly, no. Lalong-lalo na hindi nila mararamdaman that that space is safe. And of course, aside from that, praise publicly, pero hindi natin kailangang mag-praise ng yun nga, yung tinatawag natin na overpraising, no. So we can give them micro-affirmations. So if you are familiar with micro-affirmations, these are small activities or small set of activities we can show the students, no. So if kakamustahin natin sila, we will praise them, no. Yung tama lang yung degree, not to the point that we are giving false hope sa mga bata. So moving on with the fourth one is we need to build an online community. So please take note of this. Ang online community has members which have the ability to critic, no. Meron silang ability to critic. Ano yung critic? Let's say peer evaluation, no. Ang ikikritik nila is yung output ng bata, hindi yung gumawa. So that is how we will be able to create a safe space, no. Build a community with students who can critic, no, who can give constructive criticisms on the work of the students, no. And also build an online community who knows how to respect individual differences. So kasama yan sa online community ang respect to the different race, gender, and any factors. Next is enable them to become self-learners. Ito ang target talaga ng ating education. Ito ang target ng ating Google tools to teach students how to become self-learners, to teach students how to become independent. Yun. To teach students how to decision or to make decisions on their own, no. So kasama yan dito sa number 6, provide them choices, no. So dito, kapag binigyan natin sila ng choices, may realize nila that they are considered, no, that they are developing their skill to decide on their own, no. So yun. And kasama din sa dalawang nabanggit ko sa number 5 and number 6, ayan, yan, kasama sa enable them to become self-learners and provide them choices, yung ability ng students to become a 21st century learners. And so those are some of the safe space practices na pwede nating i-reiterate sa mga bata. And the most important thing talaga is to connect to our students, no, to know them, to learn about many things about them. So yan, para ma-avoid natin yung mga actions na akala natin okay lang pero hindi pala siya okay or hindi pala siya magiging indicator na safe ang ating space. Ayan. So ayan. So these are all some of the features or some of the contents or all of the contents that I wanted to share for today's session, no. So if you have questions, additional practices or any queries about this, ayan, kindly mention it later sa ating Q&A forum. So with that, ayan, I would like to go back to Miss Pau for several questions. Thank you very much po.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir MJ. Sobrang overwhelming yung talk na narinig natin from you, no? If you are going to go through the comment section, everybody's like saying that it's really a very comprehensive explanation. Ayan. So just like this from Ma'am Angie Salazar, a very comprehensive explanation of the features of Google Meet. This will be very helpful for the opening of classes since I am doing online class for grade 5. So, malaking tulong talaga from Miss Angie Salazar. Also, we have from Gary Garcia. Thank you, Sir Marge, for that very detailed explanation, essential to virtual class. Siguro, Sir MJ, wala na tayong ibang masasabi, kundi well done, sir. Sabi nga ni Sir Gary Garcia, thank you for the nice sharing. Because of that very informative talk, parang wala na yatang magtatanong pa dahil napakalinaw na, no? Sobra-sobrang spoon feeding, kumbaga naibigay mo na lahat, and kudos to you, sir. If and when po ba they still have any questions or they would like to reach you out, paano po ba nila kayo makakausap?
Ayan, so you can connect me through, yun nga, sabi ni Miss Pa, yung Facebook kasi common naman siya. So Facebook ko ay mj.sardo. Yun. So if you type facebook.com /mj.sardo. So you can reach me din po doon. Or use my Twitter at mjsardo. Ayan po. Thank you very much po.
All right. So very active ang social media account ni Sir MJ. I'm gonna add you, Ab. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
search for you and add you as well, sir. So there you have it. Sabi nga natin, it's always like communication is the key to bridge, right? Ourselves to our students para maiwasan daw po ang ating MU, yung magulong ugnayan at malabong usapan. Ayan. So for us to be able to have a clear ground to our students and for us to be able to bridge the gap, so set things first and then of course use the new features of Google Meet as discussed by Sir MJ. Sir MJ, we would like to thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise with us. Of course, dear viewers, we are going to post the evaluation form link. So if you can see it, it's going to be on your screen. So kindly take time, all right, to fill out the evaluation form. Okay, and this is for, all right, so this is for everybody. Ayan, so if you can see it down, that's our evaluation form link. Please, 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 please do evaluate our speaker in our session for today so that we know in which areas we could further improve. And of course, we could commend as well the people behind and of course, our very very efficient speaker for today. Maraming salamat, Sir MJ.
Thank
And
you po.
with that, of course, I hope everybody was able, okay, to get something new or maybe something to improve and enhance for your class, for your talk, and for everything else that this might be useful with. Maraming salamat po. And of course, that would be for our session for today. Sana nga marami po talaga tayong natutuhan at huwag niyo pong kalimutan na sagutan yung evaluation form, yung link po na nasa chat box or naka-flash sa ating screen. May chance po kayong manalo ng GCE Level 1 test vouchers just by answering the evaluation form. We will also be sending out e-certificates of participation and we will announce the winners on today during the weekend wrap up. All right. So ang next talk po natin ay, all right, so we're gonna be having you a little later. We hope that nandyan pa rin po kayo para sa susunod nating talk. So we hope to see you there. Salamat po ulit sa lahat ng mga guro na nagtutulungan para sa bayan. See you later!